Hi there, this is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, and welcome to our random review. Today's random review comes from Latvia in 1992, and it's Spider, directed by Vasily Mas, and starring Aurelija Anuzalite, which is not her name, as Vita, and Lubomoras Lafazicius, again, probably not his name, who you'll recognise from Come and See, Klimov's wonderful film from 1985. Because I started watching Spider and went, I know that guy from somewhere, so that's where he's from. The film opens with a quote from Sigmund Freud, which says, "Subconscious sexual desires are closely linked to the sense of fear." And it's basically a knockabout comedy involving a young woman called Vita and her sexual awakening, but featuring lots of spiders. So if you're an arachnophobe, probably best to give this one a miss. This is a Mondo Macabro Blu-ray, which is a 4K transfer from the 35mm. It's got newly created English subtitles. It has an interview with the film's director and some rare on-set footage and some more Mondo Macabro previews. And for those counting at home, it's Mondo Macabro number 177. This is a beautiful fairy tale film, which has some buttery colour cinematography, which just looks as though they've wiped some butter on the camera lens, and it is a dark, foreboding film about sexual awakening. So we have this young girl who seems to go to a Catholic school or some religious school, and a priest has commissioned a local painter to do a painting of the Virgin Mary, and the painter, played by Lasavicius, not his real name, takes a fancy to Vita and says the only way he'll do the commission is if she is his model. So she comes along to the studio where he's painting a nude with a bird of prey, and he has various strange paintings, and Vita has a look around his studio. His paintings seem to come alive, and one of the paintings has another naked lady in the embrace of a giant spider. His other paintings is a definite Hieronymus Bosch feeling going on in his paintings, and then Vita begins to have strange nightmarish visions of the paintings coming alive and being sexually molested by a giant spider. We've all had those kind of dreams, haven't we? The film is obviously about the difference between fantasy and reality, the difference between art and artifice and reality. It's not quite La Belle and Noisy from Jacques Rivette, which was made a year earlier, but it has similar themes between the role of the artist and the role of the model, but it quickly goes into early career Cronenberg mode. Halfway through the film, we have a switch of location. So we're in the town, and his studio is very oppressive, has these shady characters, and it's full of shadows and mirrors, and it's almost as if the Vita's physiology changes as she starts to have more and more of these strange dreams. So she's sent out into the country to stay with her aunt and her family, including a virile young chap of her, similar to her age. But the images of spiders and her nightmares continue, and the line between nightmare and fantasy and reality continue until the painter turns up in the countryside as well. It's a beautiful little film. Yes, there's copious amounts of nudity on Vita's part, and there's also copious amounts of spider action as well. There's one scene that does resemble Japanese cartoons with tentacle monsters trying to penetrate young women, but obviously in spider form. And again, it just has this air of a kind of nightmarish fairy tale, but it is just strange and beautiful. But again, it might not be everybody's taste, especially if you are afraid of spiders. It's about the transmogrification of the artist, becoming obsessed with subject matter, and then that subject matter coming alive. The practical effects are really good and sticky and icky, and will probably make some people of a nervous disposition even more nervous. Again, it's a Mondo Macabro title, so you kind of know what you're in for, but it does have a kind of a bit of class about it, even though it does have copious amounts of nudity. But then it's about sexual reawakening. Are the spiders real, or is it just the fear of being touched and being penetrated by appendages for the first time? So I'm not going to go too much into detail of plot points. There's a lovely little performance by a dog. The family dog out in the country gives a zesty performance full of vitality. It's a lovely print. Again, it has some beautiful cinematography, but again, if you don't like that kind of let's rub butter in the lens at times, then it's perhaps a little bit annoying. But on the whole, it's a really enjoyable little film about changing in more ways than one. So thanks very much for watching this brief random review of Spider, not to be confused with Cronenberg Spider, which I've did a video in this channel in the neglected gems section, I believe. I haven't done too many Latvian films, but please let me know if you've seen Spider and what you think of it, and what is your favourite spider related film, and hopefully you'll join me again for more random reviews. This is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, saying farewell.